Elena Thompson had always been the quiet type, the one who preferred the company of old books and family heirlooms over crowded parties or flashy social gatherings. Growing up in a modest home in suburban Chicago, she learned early on the value of things that carried history, objects that whispered stories of generations past. Among her most treasured possessions was an antique jewelry box, a beautifully carved mahogany piece adorned with intricate gold filigree, passed down from her great-aunt Matilda. Matilda had been a world traveler in the early 20th century, collecting rare gems and trinkets from exotic locales like Paris, Cairo, and Mumbai. The box wasn't just a container. It was a vault of memories, holding sapphire earrings from a forgotten Egyptian bazaar, a diamond brooch gifted by a long-lost admirer, and pearl necklaces that had graced the necks of elegant women at grand balls. Appraisals over the years suggested the contents were worth upwards of $150,000, but to Elena, their sentimental value was priceless. Life had been steady for Elena after marrying her husband, Alex, a kind-hearted engineer who shared her love for quiet evenings at home. They had a young daughter, Sophia, who at 5 years old was already fascinated by the shiny treasures in the box, often begging her mother to let her try on the pearls. But tranquility shattered when Alex's uncle, Marco Rossi, entered the picture. Marco was a slick real estate developer from New York, known for his sharp suits, sharper tongue, and a reputation for bending rules to close deals. He had always eyed the family with a mix of envy and opportunism, especially after hearing whispers about Elena's inheritance during a holiday dinner. It started innocently enough, a casual visit to their home under the guise of family bonding. Marco admired the jewelry box on the mantel, his eyes lingering a bit too long. "That's quite the piece," he said with a sly smile. "Must be worth a fortune. You know, now that you're part of the Rossi family, things like this should be shared. Family property, right? We could appraise it, maybe even sell a few items to invest in something bigger, like a vacation home for all of us." Elena politely declined, explaining it was a personal heirloom meant to stay in her bloodline. But Marco didn't take no for an answer. What began as subtle hints escalated into a calculated campaign of manipulation. First came the anonymous phone calls to Elena's workplace, a small marketing firm where she handled client accounts. The caller accused her of theft, claiming she had been seen pawning jewelry that belonged to the Rossi family. Elena's boss, initially dismissive, grew concerned when similar emails arrived with doctored photos showing Elena at a pawn shop, holding items that looked suspiciously like those from her box. The images were cleverly edited, her face superimposed on a stranger's body, timestamps faked to match her work schedule. Panic set in. Elena started doubting her own security, installing extra locks on the doors. Then, the break-in happened. One evening, while the family was out at Sophia's ballet recital, someone forced open a window. The house was ransacked, drawers pulled out, closets emptied, but nothing valuable was taken except for a few inconsequential knickknacks. The jewelry box, however, had been opened and its contents disturbed, as if someone was inventorying them. Elena knew it wasn't a random burglary, it felt personal, targeted. Sleepless nights followed, with Elena clutching Sophia close, whispering assurances that everything would be okay even as her own heart raced with fear. Desperate and isolated, Elena confided in her mother, Rosa, over a tearful phone call. Rosa was a retired forensic accountant, a no-nonsense woman in her late 60s who had spent 3 decades unraveling corporate frauds for major firms. With a keen eye for discrepancies and a network of former colleagues in law enforcement and digital forensics, Rosa was the perfect ally. "Don't worry, Mieha," Rosa said firmly. "We'll turn the tables on this snake." Rosa wasted no time. She began by tracing the anonymous calls, using her contacts to subpoena records from the phone company. The numbers led to burner phones purchased at a convenience store near Marco's office, captured on security footage showing his assistant making the buy. Next, she tackled the doctored photos. Enlisting a digital expert friend, Rosa analyzed the metadata, hidden data in image files revealing creation dates, software used, and edits. The Photoshop layers were sloppy, shadows didn't match, and pixel artifacts screamed forgery. To catch Marco in the act, Rosa suggested setting up hidden cameras in Elena's home, disguised as everyday objects like smoke detectors and picture frames. Pretending to be a frail grandmother uninterested in family drama, Rosa orchestrated a fake mediation meeting at a neutral coffee shop. Elena, playing along, tearfully agreed to have the box appraised, for fairness. Marco arrived smug, briefcase in hand, presenting his own forged appraisals that undervalued the items by 70%, claiming they were replicas, worth pennies. As he pressured Elena to sign a transfer document, citing family loyalty, with veiled threats about her job security, Rosa's hidden recorder captured every word. But the real trap sprung when Marcos' impatience peaked. "Sign it, Elena, or those photos go public. Your boss, your neighbors, everyone will know you're a thief." At that moment, Rosa signaled her police contact, a detective specializing in white-collar crimes, who burst in with 2 officers. They presented the evidence. Call logs, metadata reports, camera footage of Marco's goon during the break-in identified via license plate tracking, and wire transfers linking Marco to hired hackers for the emails. Marco was arrested on the spot for fraud, stalking, and attempted extortion. His real estate empire crumbled as investigations revealed similar schemes against other relatives and business partners. He faced years in prison, his assets frozen. Elena reclaimed her peace, selling a few non-sentimental pieces from the box to fund Sophia's college trust. The rest she kept, sharing stories with her daughter about great-aunt Matilda's adventures. Rosa became the family's quiet guardian, teaching Elena that true legacies aren't just objects, they're the unyielding strength to protect them, passed down through bonds of trust and clever resolve. Word count: 852. Marcus Hale had built his life brick by brick, or rather, bean by bean. His small coffee shop, Hale's Brew, nestled in the heart of Seattle's bustling Pike Place market, was more than a business, it was a sanctuary. Starting from a food truck 5 years ago, Marcus poured his soul into it, sourcing ethical beans from Colombian farmers he knew personally, crafting signature blends that drew loyal crowds. The aroma of fresh roasts mingled with the chatter of patrons, creating a warm haven amid the rainy city. But shadows from his past threatened to drown it all when his ex-wife's brother, Lyle Kendrick, slithered back into his life. Lyle was a ghost from a messy divorce a decade prior. A former convict with a rap sheet for petty theft and assault, he had always resented Marcus for stealing his sister away, only to blame him when the marriage crumbled. Lyle resurfaced one drizzly afternoon, sauntering into the shop with a smirk that curdled the cream. "Nice place you've got here, Marcus. Heard it's worth a pretty penny now. You owe me, family debts from way back. Half the business, or I make your life hell." He flashed fabricated loan documents, yellowed paper claiming Marcus had borrowed $50,000 from Lyle's family fund years ago, complete with forged signatures. Marcus laughed it off at first, but Lyle's threats escalated. Goons, burly men with tattoos peeking from collars, started loitering outside the shop, glaring at customers until foot traffic dwindled. Online, a barrage of anonymous 1-star reviews flooded Yelp and Google. "Overpriced sludge, owners shady, avoid." Sales plummeted 40% in weeks. Marcus's investors, a group of local entrepreneurs, grew wary when Lyle hinted at exposing Marcus's past, a minor juvenile offense for joyriding, long expunged but dredged up in twisted emails. Nights became endless vigils, Marcus staring at the ceiling, replaying the harassment. He confided in his sister, Lila, during a frantic call. Lila was a cybersecurity expert, having worked for government agencies tracking digital crimes like identity theft and ransomware. At 38, she was a whiz with code, her home office a fortress of screens and servers. "Bro, we've got this," she assured him. "Digital trails are my playground." Lila dove in headfirst. She traced the fake documents, digital footprints using specialized software, pinpointing the IP address to a public library near Lyle's apartment where the PDFs were created. Metadata revealed editing software timestamps matching Lyle's known devices. For the bot network posting reviews, Lila deployed honeypots, fake accounts to lure the attackers, and uncovered a cheap overseas service Lyle had hired via cryptocurrency payments, linked back through blockchain analysis. To seal the deal, Lila hacked legally into public records and, with a warrant from a sympathetic judge, an old agency contact accessed Lyle's emails. They brimmed with damning evidence. Instructions to his goons, receipts for the review bots, and gloating messages about breaking Marcus for good. The sting was Lila's masterpiece. Marcus agreed to a buyout meeting at the shop after closing, dim lights casting long shadows. Lyle arrived cocky, altered contracts in hand, demanding immediate signature under threat of more exposure. Hidden mics, planted by Lila, captured his snarls. "Sign, or your investors get the full dirt, jail time for you, shop closed." As tension peaked, Lila alerted authorities. Police swarmed, armed with her dossier, IP logs, email chains, forensic proofs of forgery, and surveillance footage of the goons. Lyle was hauled away, charged with cyber harassment, extortion, and fraud. His parole violated, he faced extended prison time. The business rebounded spectacularly, the scandal drew sympathetic crowds. And Marcus expanded to a second location downtown. Lila's intervention was a beacon, reminding Marcus that shadows from the past, no matter how dark, fade when pierced by the light of trust, expertise, and unyielding sibling loyalty. He hung a photo of them behind the counter, a quiet tribute to the woman who turned his nightmare into triumph, the silent guardian. Sophia Grant's engagement to Ethan should have been a fairy tale. A successful graphic designer in San Francisco, she met him at a gallery opening, their romance blooming like the city's vibrant street art. But lurking in the background was Ethan's mother, Vivian Hargrove, a high society socialite whose influence cast a long, chilling shadow. Vivian, drowning in secret gambling debts from lavish casino trips, discovered Sophia's hidden trust fund, a $200,000 savings account from her late parents, meant for a future home or emergencies. Vivian started subtly, with motherly advice. During dinners, "Darling, that fund could help the family. Weddings are expensive, and Ethan's starting his own firm." When Sophia refused, explaining it was her security net, Vivian's mask cracked. She unleashed edited voicemails, splicing Sophia's innocent conversations to sound like schemes to defraud the Hargroves. "I'll send these to your clients, your boss, your career's over," Vivian hissed in a late-night call. Forced loans followed. Sophia handed over chunks of her salary weekly, leaving her scraping by on ramen and bus fares. Isolated, Sophia broke at a family dinner, tears streaming as she whispered her ordeal to her uncle, Theo. A retired detective with 25 years in undercover ops for the NYPD, Theo was the family's rock, stoic, strategic, and fiercely protective. Now in his 60s, he lived quietly but kept his skills sharp with private investigations. "Kiddo, no one messes with my niece," he growled, eyes narrowing. Theo began surveillance discreetly, tailing Vivian to seedy meetings with debt collectors in back alley cafes, noting license plates and faces. With old precinct buddies' help, he bugged her car legally via a court order, capturing rants about squeezing Sophia dry. The voicemails. Theo's audio expert dissected them, revealing splices, pauses mismatched, background noises inconsistent. The confrontation was a masterclass in patience. Sophia capitulated at a notary's office, agreeing to transfer funds. Vivian arrived triumphant, a burly bodyguard in tow for intimidation. As Vivian pressured, "Sign now, or those voicemails go viral," Theo's team, plainclothes cops, stormed in. Warrants in hand, they presented tapes, audio analyses, and bank records showing Vivian's debt-fueled motives. Vivian crumbled, arrested for blackmail and wire fraud. Her social circle abandoned her, assets seized to pay debts. Sophia ended the engagement, realizing Ethan's silence made him complicit, but found empowerment in independence. She launched a nonprofit for harassment victims with her fund. Theo, her silent guardian, proved that true protection comes not from noise, but from calculated, unwavering action in the shadows' echoes of betrayal. Liam Carter's engineering dreams were rooted in innovation, but betrayal echoed louder than any blueprint. His stepmother, Carla Vance, an accountant with a failing consulting firm, coveted his inheritance, a patent for a revolutionary water purification device from his late father. Worth millions if licensed, it was Liam's ticket to a startup. Carla forged emails implying Liam embezzled family funds, threatening to leak them to his university, derailing his PhD. Weekly drains on his accounts left him destitute. A staged robbery amplified his terror. Confiding in his grandmother, Evelyn, a wartime cryptographer who cracked codes for Allied forces, changed everything. Evelyn, sharp at 82, spotted forgery flaws, mismatched fonts, erroneous timestamps. Her contacts traced Carla's financial trails, revealing siphoned funds. Evelyn's trap. Liam, licensed the patent at a lawyer's meeting. Carla, gloating, was caught on mic mid-threat. Evelyn's FBI ally arrived with evidence, leading to Carla's conviction for fraud.